This is Renee Collins, and welcome to Overtones. Welcome, everyone, and you are listening to the 9th broadcast of Overtones, Faculty Meeting Edition, on WLXU 93.9 Lexington Community Radio. And I am Renee Collins, your host, and we have just listened to the fabulous song of Lexington's Brother Smith, who opens our show each and every week with their hit song, Happy Tune. And wow, do we have a lot to be happy about today, right, everybody? Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, this is another special feature of Overtones, and I have called a faculty meeting for today, and the agenda is to promote the incredible value of music education. And our attendees have been subpoenaed, invited, and that means I'm going to introduce our guests, that we might engage in an old-fashioned roll call. So when I call your name, you will say here, and then we'll give you all a round of applause after you identify yourselves. And again, we are on Lexington Community Radio WLXU 93.9. So we first have a University of Kentucky music theory professor and author of the book Music Theory Remixed, Dr. Kevin Holm-Hudson.
Here.
And a round of applause. Yay! We have Skinny Devil Music Lab, Academy of Guitar Instructor, and winner of the J. Flippin Music Educator Award from the Lexington Music Awards, Paulie Felice.
I'm in the corner where I belong.
Bath County High School music teacher and former student of Dr. Holm-Hudson, I might add, what? Rob Rawlings.
Hello.
And Lexington private music and theater instructor and extraordinarily great vocal coach, Vanessa Davis.
Yay! Present!
Thank you. That's variation on the here thing, right? And from Stanton, Kentucky, we are so pleased to have NBC's The Voice, Livia Faith. What a show we have here today. And Warren Cobb and I are co-executive directors of a nonprofit organization called Room 17 Productions. And our mission at Room 17 is to promote music education through storytelling, oral history, recording, and live performance. And because we believe in education and music cuts across many disciplines in life, both personally and professionally, and all of us and all of our listeners need not to go any further than in this studio to just demonstrate the importance of music education today. And how abundantly clear this belief or theory really is, we will find out today in this faculty meeting that I've called. So we're going to open today's show with the gift of song from the beautiful and talented Lexington's Vanessa Davis. She's from Canada, but we do claim her now, right?
You nabbed me. I'm here.
Yes, and Vanessa, let me just start off by asking you a question before you start.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the value of education in music is?
Oh, it's so important. I think a lot of times it gets sort of overlooked or brushed aside as less important than other aspects of education in the public school system or in the home. And to me, it's just vital. I mean, music education, it works your right brain and your left brain. It's very mathematical, as I'm sure we'll hear a lot of later from Kevin. I believe that music makes you a more empathetic person. I believe that it makes you a more confident person, and that it helps you to identify who you are as a person and as an artist. I think that it's vital in discovering your own voice, whether that's, through singing or any other form of instrumentation, or even just expression in the arts. It's just so important. It's so important to a well-rounded education.
Well, I agree with that. And what are you going to sing for us here today? Oh, that's awesome.
What a great singing time.
Lauren Cobb has just brought in a great sound effect here for us. I was actually looking for a teacher's bell today.
That's
this
so funny. It's there.
That doesn't mean your time's up, however. So what are you going to sing for us today, Vanessa?
Well, I've got a few songs lined up for you today. I'm going to start with Time Again, which is, I didn't plan it this way, but really appropriate to what you just asked me, because I went through a time in my life where music kind of took a back burner to everything else I was doing, and particularly songwriting. And at one point I just realized, no, this is who I am as a person, and I really need to get back into it. I just didn't feel complete without having a lot of music in my life. And so I wrote the song just at the time when I was realizing how important music was and how much I needed it back in my life.
Wonderful. Vanessa Davis on Overtones.
When will it be time to play again, time to care again, spend the day again, taking time to reevaluate, time to reappreciate those old songs, play 'em once or twice. Wouldn't that be nice? When will it be time to write again, time to dream again, to fight again, time to finish what I started, not stay broken-hearted, put the pieces back in one by one. Wouldn't that be fun? To the next, snowball in regret. I can't stand by watching dreams of yesterday get carried away, marching off to die. So here I am, I won't hesitate again, putting pen to page again, to create again a brand new melody, to find a life in me and add it to a few that must be heard. Thank you.
That was Vanessa Davis on Overtones, and we will be back after these messages.
She's only a little girl. She's only a little girl with great big expectations for the dreams in her head. She hums and sings and writes her poetry and doesn't acknowledge attempts to quiet her down. And she sings la 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 la. She puts on concerts for her family and imagines all of the adoring crowds calling her name. She smiles and bows and thanks the audience and laughs to herself about the ones who used to put her down. She sings la 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 la. She believes with all her heart that dreams come true, and she has never given up. She shuts out mocking words and shuts her eyes and hears the crowds and doesn't worry about other standards and giving up. She sings la 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 la. She's only a little girl with great big expectations for the dreams in her head. She shuts out mocking words and shuts her eyes and hears the crowds and doesn't worry about other standards and living up. La 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 la. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We are back, and you're listening to Overtones on Lexington Community Radio 93.9 FM. And you hear the bell ringing once again. We are having a special edition called Faculty Meeting today. And that was the lovely and talented Vanessa Davis. And what was the name of that song, Vanessa?
It's called Little Girl.
It was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
And we are back. Not only do we have a collection of first-generation musicians, but we are also happy to have one of Vanessa's students with us today.
Yay!
So please join me in welcoming NBC's The Voice Contestant, Livia Faith.
Yay!
What a pleasure it is to have you with us today, Livia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Where are you from, Livia?
I'm from Stanton, Kentucky.
And how old are you?
I'm 17.
And what high school do you go to?
I'm actually homeschooled, but I did go to Montgomery County High School until halfway through my sophomore year.
Okay. Well, we are so glad to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So we're going to start at the very beginning. Because it's a very good place to start, as the song says, right?
I see what you did there.
So let's take us to how and when did you get this idea and vision to audition for The Voice? And what did that look like pre-actual audition?
It's actually a really funny story. I did not sign myself up to audition for The Voice. It was done without my knowledge by my sister. Last winter, we had been snowed in for a good 4 days, and she got a little case of the cabin fever, I do suppose. And she sent me a picture from downstairs, and I was upstairs. And she was like, guess who just registered you to go to a cattle call audition for The Voice? And I was down those stairs, as fast as I could. I was like, you did what? Because they've been telling me to audition, ever since I was like, old enough to. And I was always like, no, I want to wait till I'm at least, good and in my 20s, and I'm confident, and my voice I know is mature, and, just a lot of factors. I'm in my prime, and I never envisioned myself auditioning for The Voice at such a young age, but I'm so glad I did. I just needed that little push. So thank the Lord she just registered me to audition, and we just went on a whim, my mother and I, and we went to Nashville, Tennessee for the cattle call audition. We got in line at like 6:45 a.m. We didn't get indoors the Music City Center until like 2 p.m. that afternoon. It was a long day for us. It was cold and it was rainy. I ended up getting a call back for the next day, and God love us, we didn't pack no toothbrushes and clothes and nothing. We thought it was going to be a quick day trip. We did not expect a call back, so we had to find them all.
That's right what quick. Walmart's for, right?
Yes, it is. We were pretty close to them all, thank the Lord. So we went down there and we got everything we needed to do the callback the next day, and we ended up staying that weekend in Nashville, and they moved us to a studio for the callbacks the next day. Then I got called in for a private audition, and it was in Philadelphia. My family actually helped me stage it as a little family vacay to New York City. We just headed on up there after my audition to make it look like it was not an audition.
So did you know? Did your family tell you that you were going?
Actually, NBC contacted me to come in for a private audition in Philadelphia, and they went with me.
I think she means so that her friends and family and social media wouldn't know that she was at an audition.
It was an audition. Voice. Yeah.
I'm a little bit slow sometimes.
Oh, no. It's okay. You're fine. So after that, we got the call, you're going to Los Angeles, and I went in July for executive callbacks. And then those lasted 3 days. We found out that I got a spot for the blind auditions, and we went back out to start shooting all the stuff for the show in like September.
So did you ever in your wildest dreams imagine that would transpire after just an initial, I guess, communication from your sister?
Absolutely not. When me and my mom went to the first cattle call audition in Nashville, and I heard just everyone around me singing their songs, I was like, Mom, don't expect anything. Like, this is ridiculous, and all these people around me, they had like their songs written out on their arms and everything else. And my mom was getting real frustrated at me. She was like, Liv, do you even know what song you're going to sing? And I was like, no. And she was like, you need to pick a song. Everybody around you here, they know what song they're singing. What do you mean no? And I was like, I'm just going to go in and fill out the room, and I'm sure a song will come to me. And Lord, I had her stressing out. God love her heart. But she's like, okay, trying to keep calm. And, it ended up working out. So I'm glad I just went with my gut.
So how did you get notified that you would be on the audition round, which was on TV last week?
They actually told us when we were there for a callback in Los Angeles.
So you didn't have to wait very long?
It was a little wait. We went for executive callbacks in July, and they told us, I can't even remember. Or actually, they told us while we were there in July. They put us in kind of two different rooms, and there was like a yes room and a no room, and that's how they kind of separated it out.
So what did you sing, and maybe tell us the background about what went into that decision on what you were going to sing first on The Voice?
Yes, my blind audition song was Dream a Little Dream of Me by the Mamas and the Papas.
Which you can download on iTunes.
There we go.
Sure and it's really good.
And it ended up charting at 48 on the pop charts, and it made the top 200 on the overall iTunes charts, which I did not expect at all. That was absolutely crazy.
Star shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in a sycamore tree. Dream, my little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be. Dream, my little dream of me. Stars fading, but I linger on to you. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave our worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Ba-dum, 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 bum. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-ba-ba-ba-bum. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dreams till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave our worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. Dream a little dream of me.
But my mother had actually showed me that song about a year previous to doing the show, and my most famous performance of all time is my living room concerts that I put on for just my mother. And one day I was singing probably Like Fever, another oldie that I love, and she was like, you know what oldie I think you would be just great on? You know what I think you should sing? And I was like, what? And she suggested Dream a Little Dream of Me, and I listened to it, and then I listened to it again, and then I listened to it again. I loved it. I immediately fell in love with it, and I sang it at a family reunion just like a month after she showed it to me, actually, and I was like, wow, I really enjoy singing this song. It's a song that I can sing, you know, from my heart. I just, I love it. It's a really enjoyable song. And so it was a real big honor for me to be able to sing it on such a platform on national television. That meant a lot to me, yeah.
So, Vanessa, were you involved in this decision whatsoever, or did
Oh,
she
man.
communicate to you that that's what
I
she
have
had
been
planned?
peeing my pants, keeping this secret, y'all. Like every step of the way I've known, and it's the hardest secret I think I've ever had to keep. But
Word.
It's
Yeah.
it's funny because Olivia says that she had no idea that she was gonna get picked from the blinds, but she came in for a coaching before she headed off to that first audition. I knew she was gonna get picked up. Just, you know, you started lessons with me when you
I
were
was
what,
11.
like 11, and then just, you know, through life and busyness or whatnot, you took consistently for several years, but then I think when you got into high school, it was more on a coaching basis, not able to necessarily commit to weekly lessons. But there was a stint there where I didn't see her for a while. And then her mom texted me and was like, hey, we need to set up some coaching. She's auditioning for The Voice. And so they came back into my studio and I heard her sing. And it had been, you know, maybe like 6 months or a year since I'd heard you. And you don't even know this, I haven't told you this, but my jaw just hit the floor. I was like, okay, like she's always been talented. She's always had a beautiful voice, but she had found herself as an artist, which I think is that thing, especially for a show that's about the voice. That's what they're looking for, is that you not only have the talent, but you have just that, I guess, aura that just says, this is who I am as a person, and I'm able to project that through how I sing. And she had found it. And so when I heard her sing at that point, I was like, she's gonna get on that show. I was like, oh my gosh, she is going to get on that show. I knew it.
Oh,
I knew that you were going to.
I wish I had been that confident. I was like, Mom, don't expect anything.
Well, and I didn't want to tell you that because I say I knew, but I didn't want to get your hopes up. But I was like, I really
You had that feeling.
I really thought that they were going to like her.
Yeah. So you started singing, and tell our audience what happened.
Oh, during my blind audition? Yes. It's a really funny story. I told myself before I went on stage, I will do anything except for look at the chairs. I was going to close my eyes. I was going to look at the sky. I was going to look at the audience, but I was going to refuse to look at the chairs because I didn't want to see them turn and then get giddy, and then I didn't want to see them not turn and then get nervous. And so I was just afraid that either way it was going to affect my performance. And I was like, just anything but don't look at the chairs. And I just happened to open my eyes slightly at one point in the song, and I saw that Kelly Clarkson and Blake Shelton were both looking me in the eyes when I did open them, and I made the mistake of glancing over to my family, who was like hysteria, like I could see them like
tears
up and
were
down.
Flowing.
Right, all of them. I could see them like jumping up and down, like it was crazy, and I almost got the giggles, and I had to turn right back around rather quickly. And about the time that I did turn back around, Alicia was turning, and all that was going through my mind was just, please finish this song. Please don't forget the words now. Please just finish it, and then we can happy dance.
That would take a lot of focus, I think, to be able to sit there and sing and then not, wanting to pay attention to what's going on. But
you want to stop dead in your tracks and be like, thank you. But you can't.
When she FaceTimed me later to tell me that she had gotten 3 chair turns, I was like, but how did you sing? And she's like, I don't know. I don't remember any of it.
I really had to wait for the TV show, probably.
I really wish I could tell you what it was like. I sang one word and I blacked out. I'm pretty sure. I could have been singing, Wheels on the Bus for all I know. I'm glad I didn't. I watched it back. I didn't. That was good. But I could have been. I really don't remember it. It was such a surreal moment. I think I just got lost in it. And I just it was just like black vision. I don't remember.
So it's kind of like an out-of-body experience,
It is.
isn't
That's
it?
exactly what it is. It's just completely out of body. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I couldn't be like, I liked it when I did that one part that I sang. It's like, I can't tell you that. I have really no idea. I'm glad I sang the right song. That's all I'm grateful for, really. And I would have been happy with, at least just one chair, and 3 was just out of this world. I never expected anything like that.
So had you thought about the different scenarios on who would turn around and if it was this combination, or did you kind of have in mind who you were going to go with?
To be honest, I don't think I'm a biggest fan. I was like, it's okay if none of them turn around. I had already accepted that, I was like, I'm just going to have fun with it.
So you're like, now I have to make a decision.
Oh, right. And then when it came down to it, I was like, there's not a wrong choice. And I've caught a lot of backlash from some people. They're like, you told us you were going to pick Blake. Why did you not pick Blake? Some guy on Twitter made 2 accounts just so he could tweet me twice and be like, listen, little girl, next time you promise America you're going to pick someone, you better own up to it. And I was like, oh, Lord. I didn't mean to offend anyone, but I think there was a lot of extra talking that went on that not everybody got to see, back home, and especially on the TV, because it's a shortened version of actually what happened. You get to talk to the coaches for about, 15 to 20 minutes after your audition. And Alicia, I've been telling everyone, is the best fisherman I know. She really cast that line out there and just reeled me right in. And by the time we were done talking, it was like there was almost this light over Alicia's head, and it was like, you have to pick Alicia, please. My heart just went straight to her. I really thought, my Southern roots would draw me straight to Blake. But after, I don't know, listening to all of them talk, something was just telling me in my gut, like, you have to go with Alicia, and you got to go with your gut,
You've made the right decision if that's what you listen to, definitely.
Thank you.
So we wish you the best of luck in the next phase, which is the battle round, right?
Yes, the next phase in the competition is the battle rounds.
Well, let me ask you before we hear another song from Vanessa, what do you like about Miss Davis's approach to teaching music?
I've literally told everyone, Miss V is what we called her in class. Vanessa is like the most amazing instructor like ever in the world. I definitely would not be where I am today vocally, artistically, anything related without her help. So I'm so grateful for her. She's one of the biggest blessings in my life for sure.
Can't play when I'm crying.
So we've set the stage for that to happen. So Vanessa, what are you going to sing for us next?
Let me backtrack if that's okay and talk about the song that I sung before.
Yes. Yes.
Little Girl, yeah. So that one I wrote when I was in high school, and I was thinking about if I was going to pursue a career in music. And so I like to sing it now and dedicate it to my students and be like, don't give up on your dreams. Keep training, keep trying out for things, and just see where it takes you. So that's where that song came from. Can I mention the Student Songwriters Showcase before I play it? Or is that later?
No, please do.
So a few of the students that I teach have written their own songs. And some of them aren't able to make it, but there are 5 of them who are going to be performing at Common Grounds this Friday, March 23rd from 5:30 to 7. And their names are Abigail Stokes, Emily Reed, Rebecca Wallingford, Carly Helander, and Satara True. And Abigail Stokes is actually a songwriting student of mine. She studies songwriting, and she comes to my house and we write songs together, and it's so much fun. I really enjoy it. With special guests, Lexi Zapata, who's a local singer-songwriter, and Eliza Sayers, who's a local singer-songwriter, and they're both teenagers. So I'm like, here, you can influence my students. Yes. You can show them what the hard work does.
Before you get started, tell us about the other student that you have that is on the TV show. Is it Rise?
Oh, on Rise, yes. So yeah, her name's Brooklyn Shuck. She used to study with me. She actually started out as a piano student, and one day I heard her sing, and I kind of pulled her mother aside. She was just singing along, I think, with her sister, her older sister, Sydney Shuck. I pulled her mother aside, and I said, I know Brooklyn's enjoying her piano lessons, but she needs to be in singing lessons. And her mom's like, why? Is she any good? And I'm like, she's good. Like, she just had it. She just understood how her voice worked. And it's funny because in that moment I was like, she could play Matilda on Broadway, and she actually ended up playing Matilda on Broadway. So now she's in the new show Rise, which is kind of like, I've seen the first episode. It's kind of like the new Glee. I love it. They had me at Spring Awakening. I mean, they're doing, in their high school on the show, they're doing the production Spring Awakening, and that show has just amazing music on it. But I was thinking about this morning, actually, because Livia at one point played, when I was music directing for a show, she played Sour Kangaroo. And wasn't Brooklyn your baby kangaroo?
Brooklyn Shuck was my baby kangaroo, yes.
So they actually sang together on stage.
We did a show together, yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Well, those are some really fascinating connections.
Something about the kangaroos.
So, yeah, those kangas, you can't stop them.
So what are you singing for us now, Vanessa?
I am singing Coffee Shop Song.
Sounds great.
And it's about the main 3 important things in life: coffee, tea, and music. Sometimes the words seem far away, in place I couldn't reach 'em. Couldn't bring much to the table, and I try to pull melodies out of a restless sleep, hand 'em a guitar and teach 'em, but I just wasn't able. But you seem to understand my life doesn't run on time. I wanna bottle these moments where time stands still, label them yours and mine. So give me coffee in the morning, tea in the evening, music all day long. long. Just show me how the words and melodies go, and I'm gonna sing your song. I gotta be with somebody who knows me. So give me coffee in the morning, and I'm gonna sing your song. The world can move so fast, going double time on its axle, and I lose my roadmap. Sincerity can seem so hard to believe, and made up a word so factual, that we see life as a speed trap. I don't know where I'm going, but I know that your hand is in mine. And with your travel mug in the other, I know that I'm gonna be just fine. So give me coffee in the morning, tea in the evening, music all day long. Just show me how the words and melodies go, and I'm gonna sing your song. I gotta be with somebody who knows me. So give me tea in the evening, and I'm gonna sing your song. And if the words come out wrong, there'll be another song, another time at the back of my mind. All day long, show me how the words and melodies go, and I'm gonna sing your song. I gotta be somebody who knows me. So give me music all day long, and I'm gonna sing your song. Coffee in the morning, and I'm gonna sing your song. Sing your song. With your music all day long, I gotta sing your song. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Livia, and thank you, Vanessa, for being with us here today. And we will be back after these messages.
In between the shade and the shadow, in the silence of the sound, here is where I find El Brujo, where there's no one else around. His face is hidden in the darkness. He has a name that no one knows. He walks and yet he leaves no footprints that reveal where he goes. I have traveled such a long way. I'm at the end of my line. Do you have a song to teach me. I don't have much more time. I've been trying to find you. Where have you been so long? Will you send word to my sweet Margarita? Will you finish my song? The desert air ripples around him. Waves of heat from the earth. I do not know whether I found him or if he followed me from birth. His voice is like an ancient river cut through a canyon of stone. The raven that has kept me on my journey has left me here to face him alone. I have traveled such a long way. I'm at the end of my line. Do you have a song to teach me? I don't have much more time. I've been trying to find you. Where have you been so long? Will you send word to my sweet Margarita? Will you finish my song? He gives me some strange herbal powder. My skin flushes with red heat. I feel a surge of mystic power. The earth recedes below my feet. His incantation like an echo, fading away within my mind. The sun sinks slow to the horizon. I know that now must be the time. I have traveled such a long way. I'm at the end of my line. Do you have a song to teach me? I don't have much more time. I've been trying to find you. Where have you been so long? Will you send word to my sweet Margarita? Will you finish my song? Will you finish my song? Will you finish my song?
And that was Dr. Kevin Holm-Hudson on Overtones. And I know you're resisting trying to ring that bell again, so let's just hold off until after he's done. Warren does not follow instructions.
He's a rebel, folks.
Yes, he's a rebel. We have Dr. Kevin Holm-Hudson with us, author of the book Music Theory Remixed. Kevin, you have a very different and interesting way of teaching theory of music. How would you best describe your teaching techniques?
Well, I've taught at UK for 18 years, and prior to that, I was at Northwestern University for 6, so I guess it's about a quarter of a century that I've been using popular music in the classroom alongside the customary classical pieces that one would expect in a college music theory program. So I tend to not teach things on a historical track, so we don't necessarily start with this is the Baroque period and we're going to move our way through the classical and romantic and so on. But instead I go by concepts. So if there's a particular scale or a particular musical concept that we're going to be learning, I'll find an example from Bach, but I might also find an example from Thelonious Monk or an example from Nirvana. And so the students are constantly given a variety of examples in the classroom. And I should mention also that one thing I do with my freshmen every year, I normally teach first semester freshman theory, so I've got these students who are just coming into college, and their very first assignment that I have them do is to send me YouTube links to 3 of their desert island favorite pieces. And they can be any genre. I just tell them as long as it's something that I can play in front of my mom, so, there can't be anything with a lot of strong profanity or misogyny or, nothing like that. But it doesn't matter to me what style it is. And so I will get examples of symphonic classical music like Mahler or Mozart. But I'll also get some Toby Keith, or I'll get some techno things, or I'll get some film music. And I go through and I listen to every single one of those things that I get from the students. And I spend the first few weeks of the semester just writing down what I hear and what I can use. Here's a good example of this particular kind of scale, or here's a really good example of 3-part form, and things like that. And then what I have by the time I'm done is this collection of great teaching resources that the students provided me at the beginning of the year. And so one great example that I can share was with a student in one of my classes whose name was Emily. And not to stereotype, but most students that I've known named Emily tend to be very quiet and reserved. Well, this Emily was very much into heavy metal. And so she gave me several examples of just like growly metal, those kind of things. Well, one of them happened to be a really great example of a particular mode called the Locrian mode, which is like this really weird, it's like that kind of scale, which that wasn't right, was it? It is right. It is right. I had to think about it though. But for a second, I was like, "Am I playing Phrygian?" No, that's Locrian.
Exactly
Yeah,
so I was like,
yeah,
did you go
no,
Phrygian or
yeah,
Locrian?
yeah. Because and that just illustrates the point, because it's such an unusual mode. You usually don't find it used. But here was this really great example of a metal tune that was in this Locrian mode. All right, so we were doing different modes, and I'm playing these different examples, and I have like Johnny Cash, "I hurt myself today" for Aeolian mode and so forth, and I got to Locrian mode, and I put on this metal example. And, shy, quiet, reserved Emily in the front row goes, "Yes!" Everybody turned around and looked at her, but she's just like, "That's my song! That's my song!" And I get that a lot when a student hears their song that they gave me at the beginning of the semester, a couple weeks later in the class. It's a great way of just validating the student, that your taste, your background matters, and it's important in the classroom.
Well, I think that's just fantastic.
Very cool.
So you're going to demonstrate one of those creative ways that you do this today.
Yes.
And this is this in the book that you wrote, but it's also become a YouTube.
It's actually, with the book itself, because it does cover a lot of material. It's intended for the first 2 years of college music theory instruction and potentially beyond that. So it really covers a lot of material. And the publishers were very much interested in trying to keep the page count down so that you have a book that actually fits in people's bags, and doesn't cost too much and so forth. And so we came up with a lot of materials to put online. And so along with the book itself, there are a number of downloadable web essays where if a student wants to learn more about a particular topic, they can go to this particular website and download the material for free. And so this particular lesson was one of those web essays. I've made a series of teaching videos to go with the book, mainly because at the time the the publisher had suggested that for some of the sales reps that aren't music people, that are trying to convince music faculty to invest in this new book, it would give them a tool. They could say, well, you can watch this video and get an idea of how the professor teaches this material. And so I made this video about, the concept is called motivic parallelism. And that deals with the fact that you have something called a motive. It's a very short musical idea. And that short idea is expanded into the broader structure of the piece, so that if you have, for example, a motive that consists of 3 notes, those 3 notes might correspond to 3 different keys that you find over the course of the song. And one really good example of this is the song We Are the Champions by Queen. So this was one of the videos that I made. And I put it up just before Thanksgiving, and it went viral over the Thanksgiving break. So just on Facebook views alone, it's up to about 15,500 views at this point, just through Facebook. And I've put it up on YouTube, and it's starting to gain some traction there as well. So to illustrate this, in the video I've actually got the examples from Queen's recording. I wasn't quite sure if we could do that here. I am not going to sound like Freddie Mercury. Nobody sounds like Freddie Mercury. But to start, if you know the song, it basically starts off with the line, I paid my dues time after time. I've done my sentence, but committed no crime. Okay, so that opening section has this 3-note idea. 5, 7, 1, 1, if we're going with notes in the scale, or sol, te, do, do, or G, B flat, C, C. It's this little 3-note idea that you hear basically 4 times. One time is elaborated a little bit, but committed no crime, but it's still those 3 notes. And then the next phrase takes you from C minor up to E flat major, and we get the same pattern in this new key. And bad mistakes, I made a few, which is then the 5, 7, 1, 1 in E flat major. It's not quite the same intervals. It's obviously not the same pitches because we're in a different key, but those 3 pitches play the same role in that second key that they did in the first key. And then we go on to the part that I can't sing because it's very high, but... And then we get the big operatic. And then we get the chorus. We are the champions, my friends. Now that starts with the same 3 notes, same 3 scale degrees, but now in reverse. We are the champions. So it's 1, 7, 5. It's basically da 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 da, but backwards. And then as we go on toward the end of the chorus with No Time for Losers, no time for losers. Same da 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 da, same little 3-note figure, 'cause we are the champions. And I know my singing is embarrassing, but at this point, you've also got the da 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 da, which is literally a playground taunt, right? Yeah, 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 we are the champions. And then finally, the very end, this is the best part, the very end of the song, of the world. So those 3 notes, you get of the world, it's the da da da, right, rearranged. Now, if we take the broad picture of the entire song, the first part, the verses, are in C minor, C, right? Then the next part goes to E flat major, E flat, and then the chorus is F. So da 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 da, which is the same 3 notes that we've had repeatedly through the song. And the last 3 that we hear, the of the world, are literally those 3 pitches. They're just in a different order. So that's what motivic parallelism is. The idea that this little 3-note figure that's already woven through the melody of the song so intricately is also made up in the 3 keys that we encounter over the course of the song.
I'm writing that down, motivic parallelism.
Motivic parallelism.
Totally stealing
Yes.
that from you.
And I don't know, that voice sounded pretty good to me.
Also gives you sort of validation that Freddie was no dummy. You know, I mean,
Well,
so
that's
that would
true.
be my
He wrote this,
question too is you always wonder about stuff like that. Are we looking at it, in reverse engineering and just noticing, what happened, or was it constructed, intentionally that way? I mean, of course, in some mode, it's definitely intentional, but was he thinking motivic parallelism? Was he thinking 5-7-1?
I get this.
It's a good question.
I get this all the time.
It's too bad he's
you know.
dead.
Yeah,
we don't know.
yeah. I get this all the time. And my answer, which really kind of evades answering the question, is to simply say it doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter because it's a fantastic work of beauty that has a fantastic structure, and that's what I want to get at with my students. That it's not just the emotion of the song and what a great song is, it's also a song that is put together very well.
Right.
Now, as to whether or not this was something that the composers consciously thought of, we can ask the same thing about Mozart, as he was jotting his things down on the napkin in the billiard hall, how much was he really thinking about this? And there are actually two great cultural stereotypes that we have in classical music with the figures of Mozart and Beethoven. Mozart was this supremely gifted individual that just kind of took dictation from the angels and he wrote it down on the napkin and it was perfect, right? And then you have Beethoven who just agonized for months to come up with da-da-da-da, right? And there's all the smudges on the sketchbooks. I heard this
exact conversation on the Louisville Classical Radio Station the other day as I was listening to the same exact paragraph.
Yeah, so you get this idea that musicians are just really gifted, inspired people, but then also you've got to keep practicing.
Right.
You've got, and they're kind of woven together. I had a teacher years ago at Illinois, Bruno Nettle, that wrote about this, and that article made a huge impact on me, the way I think about music.
And we have the same conversations about Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix. Stevie, there's enough videos of him in interviews where you can go back and you can see him discussing things in a, I don't like to use the word intelligent, but in a way that makes sense terminology-wise, to a musician. But with Hendrix, there's not a lot, to base on. You can kind of perceive the brilliance in it, but how aware was he of what he was doing?
Yeah, but there's a lot with Hendrix too. Actually, with popular music studies, which is kind of getting more and more intertwined with musicology. One aspect of musicology is looking at things like the Beethoven sketchbooks or the different drafts that Bach wrote of the Mass in B minor or these other things, and looking at these early drafts and saying, well, the composer used that, they didn't use that, and now what we've got are things like the demos and the session recordings and things that record companies are putting out legitimately. And in the case of Hendrix, the bootleg stuff that's been circulating for years. So, I mean, Hendrix just kept the tape rolling and was constantly recording and jamming. And one definitive book that needs to be written is the book to sort through all of the tapes. I don't think that's ever really been done. Yeah. But I think if you did that, you'd find that there was a lot that was pretty calculated about Hendrix's work as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, again, it's not about calculation. I think it's pretty clear. I think most people know that Hendrix was doing things intentionally, And again, when you talk about Kissed by the Gods or whatever, to play the music, there can still be that intentional, motive behind it. So it's just that versus the technicalities of it. You always wonder how lined out it was in their head, ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, Freddie Mercury was definitely classically trained. Whether or not he would have been familiar with the concept of motivic parallelism, probably not. But I'm just going to, if I take this 3-note idea, and what if I did this, and what if I did this? I think that's entirely within the realm of possibility.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. This has been great.
And you said, where can people find the YouTube video? Would it be a search?
If you did a search for Music Theory Remixed, there should come up about 5 or 6 different videos at this point, and I'm working on more. There's going to be more coming out in the weeks to come. The videos collectively are not intended to be any kind of a course. It's not like a Khan Academy music theory course. Watch all these videos and you'll know everything you need to know in a freshman music theory course. But instead, they're just various episodic things that treat different aspects of music.
I think it really teaches us to listen to music in a different way. And even as trained musicians, that there's something very profound to learn from looking at songs this way. It's almost like when you learn about making films, you go and watch a movie and all of a sudden you have a different experience.
Right, and then you become that insufferable person in theater. It's like telling the date what lens the director used. right?
Hard to enjoy after that.
There's this really great truck shot coming up right there.
Well, we will be back for more of this conversation, as well as talking to one of Dr. Holm-Hudson's students, Rob Rawlings, here after the break.
Sit and dream away, counting the things in me head. Marmite and marmalade, buttered scones and hand grenades, and doodles that I made on the wall. On this grey day, the morning glory's far away, but I don't want to work today. I'm lying in bed, out of me head. Centaurs and birdie hops, incense and lemon drops, raining from the mountain tops with all the things that she said. I'm in love with every technicolor reverie, and I note them in my mental memorandum. Stuck between stations, I'm grooving on static. I don't ever want to leave my attic. I'll just keep on listening to my radio random. On this grey day, when there's nothing to do or say, I just sit and dream away, counting the things in me head. Femme fatales and Amazons, mangoes and mellotrons, biscuits with jam and prawns in the fall. I'm in love with every technicolor reverie, and I note them in my mental memorandum. Stuck between stations, I'm grooving on static. I don't ever want to leave my attic. I'll just keep on listening to my radio random. I'm in love with every technicolor reverie. I can make them come and go as I command them. You can say that I've gone whackers. My mind tastes good with jam and crackers. I'll just keep on listening to my radio random. Radio random. Radio random. Radio random. Radio random. Radio random. Yes. Radio random. Radio random. Radio random. Radio random.
And that was Radio Random, a song that you've just heard on Overtones. on WLXU 93.9 Lexington Community Radio. And that was written by Dr. Kevin Holm-Hudson and recorded and performed by Lexington's Twiggenberries.
That's correct.
So tell us about that song. It seems like a great way to end today.
Yes. Well, it hasn't really come up yet, but I think that Paulie will probably agree with this too, is that one aspect of songwriting that's really interesting, I think, is sometimes trying out a different persona, a different character. Yep. So this is something that comes up all the time with singer-songwriter tunes, like, did this person really go through this? Did they have this experience? And a lot of times they didn't, right? It's kind of like they're an actor playing out a script. And so that's actually something that I do as a member of the Twiggenberries, because we are a British pop rock cover band. We do all music from the British Isles from the 60s to the present. But the thing is that we do them as supposedly British musicians, complete with assumed names and accents and everything else. And so when I'm on the stage as a member of this band, I'm Trevor Twiggenberry the Eighth, who is the art school educated member of the band. And so you could say that Trevor wrote that particular song, or Trevor certainly sang that song. So one aspect of writing that song is to kind of put it in that persona of this rather daft British musician, and also play with some of the conventions of, I guess you could call it, 60s sunshine psychedelic pop music. The Monkees and Syd Barrett of Pink Floyd, and later artists like Robin Hitchcock and maybe John Lennon, around the Magical Mystery Tour period. Those kind of artists and styles. And so it was a lot of fun to actually write a song that kind of fit into those particular conventions. As for what the song is about, it's really the experience of, and I think everybody else has also had this experience, that you wake up in the morning and there's a song stuck in your head.
Yes.
And something like really vividly stuck in your head. And the thing is that a lot of times those songs are completely random. A song you haven't thought about in 10 or 15 years, or maybe the morning before you woke up and you were hearing, I don't know, Bob Dylan in your head, and then the next morning you wake up and it's Barry Manilow, and it's like, well, God, where did Barry Manilow come from, right? And so I had this idea that this kind of actually one of my friends has shared about having this kind of mental jukebox that will just kind of spit up these random songs, and so that's basically what it's about, is having a random playlist in your head.
Why do you think that happens? I teach unconscious bias to the staff at the University of Kentucky, and we talk a lot about that. And I think it's a very unconscious moment that happens when those things come into your mind, but usually it's the task of figuring out, where did that come from? And why did I think of that today? And usually I find more times than not, if I wait a little bit longer, I'm able to exactly identify why that happened.
And why Barry Manilow?
Well, with me, that would be really easy.
Maybe that's my unconscious bias coming through there. Is the anti-Barry Manilow bias. I'm sorry for Barry Manilow fans. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Very sorry.
That's all right, Kevin.
He's more famous than you.
Well, it's funny.
Makes more money, too.
I listened to it. The automatic association I had with it was the Brady Bunch song when they sang Sunshine Day. And when they ventured kind of into the music scene there at the end. Had a very Partridge Family feel to me.
Exactly.
As well.
It's that era right there.
Yes.
Definitely.
So you're also a Lexington singer, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I just think it's amazing. All of the people in our audience today are such industrious people. And I'm just appreciative of all of the ways you contribute your music to the community.
Well, I think I'd also like to point out, and I think Paulie and Rob would agree with me, we get paid to do something we love.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? This is not a job that we do as some kind of drudgery, like, oh, I have to go out and teach music again, right? Or I have to go to Lexington Singers and I don't even get paid to do that, I mean, we do it because we love doing it. We love doing music. We love making music and making music with other people. Music is something we do together.
And that's what it's all about.
We have to get paid because we have to pay others, but I think most of us that do this as a career understand that if there was no such thing as money, this is basically what we'd be doing anyway, maybe with a few tweaks here and there. But I kind of made that point to Rob's class when I did the clinic a few weeks ago, that this is very much a legitimate upper blue class or blue collar type of job. It's something that you get up and you do on a day-to-day basis. You make a good income doing it. You make your living doing it. But making it in music is, people ask me that, like, oh, do you ever think you'll make it? I'm like, I play my guitar for a living.
You're making it
I made
now.
it. I totally made it. You know, like the
Yeah,
day I
you're
walked
making
away
it
from
now.
my desk job and was
Exactly.
able to just play my guitar for a living, I made it. I don't have to get up and flip burgers or pound nails or send emails. Well, I do that a lot now, but you know, I don't have to do all that. And I don't have to do a job that I hate when I get up in the morning. To me, that's making it no matter what you do.
It sure is. And
Even
it's all
in-
about aligning like your passion with your mission in life.
For sure.
Yes, right.
Even in public school, when you have to deal with things like faculty meetings and
course.
standard-based grading and things that frankly annoy a lot of music teachers, grade bookkeeping and things of this nature, it's still worth the amount of time we spend in front of those students, teaching them to express themselves through the art of music. And of course, as a teacher in public school, 2 degrees minimum just to continue to do that. But it's not the money, you know. I certainly spend more in student loans than I make probably, but it is the love of music. That's it. You know.
It is the love of music.
Yeah, I think we should generalize from that applies to all our teachers. You know, that
Yes.
they're doing something that they really love to do. They're doing it at a great sacrifice. And right now they are being asked to make further sacrifices that they really shouldn't have to make.
Agreed. 100%.
So, hopefully this hasn't been one of those faculty meetings that you all have dreaded.
No, this was a good one.
Okay, and as we bring this productive faculty meeting to a close, do I hear a motion to close this meeting?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Rob took care of it, so I get to be Sweden on this one.
All in favor?
Wonderful. And I would be really remiss if I didn't thank all of our guests today, Dr. Kevin Holm-Hudson, Rob Rawlings, Vanessa Davis, Livia Faith, and Paulie Felice for their contributions to music education in the area, the state, and beyond. I am Renee Collins, reminding you that when words fail, music speaks. Goodbye, everyone, and have a great week.
Seems like life was easier today because I found a way to break free. Feels like I can't up and get away. 'Cause when you're strapped for cash, you got nowhere to be. And you go, and you go, and you go, and you go, go, go. Go, go, go. Till you run out of soul. Don't know what to do. Child, don't go worrying your life away. Will you smile a while and sing your happy tune? Oh, and love your brother, take care of your sister, pay your missing Mr. Dude. Oh, and love your brother, take care of your sister, together we can make it through. Sun is shining bright this afternoon. Let the light defeat the moon all day. Night is falling also very soon. So while we can, let's all go out and play. And you go, and you go, and you go, and you go, go, go. Go, go, go. Till you run out of soul. Don't know what to do. Child, don't go worrying your life away. We'll just smile wide and sing your happy tune. Oh, we love your brother, take care of your sister, pay your missing Mr. Dude. Oh, we love your brother, take care of your sister, together we can make it through. Child, don't go worrying your life away. Will you smile wide and sing you're happy too?